At every city hall across BC, elected officials and staff are figuring out how to pay for services people depend on. They largely do that through property taxes, but in every community, there are organizations that never get a bill.
This is common in the English-speaking world.
Under decades-old provincial legislation, the community charter lays out mandatory annual exemptions for places of worship, private and independent schools, government-owned properties, including libraries and hospitals, as well as cemeteries and care homes.
So-called heads of charity are relief of poverty, advancement of education, advancement of religion, and other charitable purposes or uses that are beneficial to the community.
The law allows municipalities to decide whether to grant exemptions for charities and not-for-profits, athletic and service clubs, for example. They typically rubber stamp exemptions for the land around a place of worship.
So it's really important to know each year, what is that property actually being used for?
For example, if a church is no longer used as a church, it'll have to pay up. But BC Assessment follows the legislation when determining its value.
And exemptions that are typically more determined by the actual use of the property, as opposed to the highest and best use.
A CTV News analysis of Lower Mainland communities found councils authorized $19 million in permissive property tax exemptions last year alone. The city of Vancouver is tough to compare because it follows similar guidelines to those laid out in the province, with nearly all automatic.
It is largely mandated from the city charter.
And while Vancouver and other communities can grant tax holidays for heritage revitalizations, some are taking matters into their own hands to avoid paying property taxes on undeveloped lots with a loophole.
So they're still technically a commercial property, even if it's a vacant lot. They repurpose them as community gardens or dog parks or that kind of thing, and then they can accrue pretty significant savings.
Classified as recreation properties with a property tax bill, a third of what an empty lot would be without needing permission.
October 31st is that critical date for what was the property actually being used for on that date.
And Penny joins us now. Penny, these rules about property tax, they've been around for a long time. Is there any interest in updating them?
Well, Mijang, I started trying to answer that question and found a lot of different opinions on that very topic. So tomorrow, we're going to take a deep dive into whether it's time to reassess who gets automatic exemptions and what the community gets out of it. Because you have to think every time there's an exemption, it means everyone else's bill goes up just a little bit more.
All right, looking forward to it. Thank you, Penny.
Thanks.